In a distant community called Acampa, there lived a woman named Maureen. She was known for being a talented food seller, and her cooking was the best in the whole village. People came from near and far to enjoy her delicious meals every day. Maureen would set up her stall, cook, and everyone loved her food. She was kind-hearted, and the villagers adored her. Maureen had a little girl named Lily, and she loved her more than anything in the world. Maureen did everything she could to make Lily happy, but life wasn't always easy for them. When Maureen was pregnant with Lily, something tragic happened. Maureen's husband, Lily's father, passed away. Maureen was left to raise Lily alone. Despite having no help, she didn't give up. Every day, she worked hard to cook and sell food to take care of Lily. The villagers saw how hard Maureen worked, and they admired her. They knew life wasn't easy for her, but Maureen never complained. She always smiled and took the best care of Lily she could. Maureen and Lily were inseparable, like best friends. They lived happily in the village, and their love for each other was unbreakable. However, one day, something terrible happened in a Acampa community. A young man, strong and healthy, came to Maureen's food stall. He was well known in the village, and like many others, he loved Maureen's cooking. He ate his meal with a smile, just like everyone else. Later that day, the young man began to feel sick. His family gathered around, trying to help him, but soon he started vomiting blood. The villagers were shocked, and the rumor spread quickly. Vomiting blood meant one thing: poisoning. Sadly, the young man didn't survive. The village was thrown into shock. As the news spread, the villagers whispered that Maureen had poisoned him. They were furious. How could someone they trusted do such a thing? They didn't stop to listen to her side. A crowd gathered at Maureen's stall, shouting murderer and poisoner. The anger in their hearts was so strong, they didn't give Maureen a chance to explain herself. In their rage, they tied her up and threw her into the evil forest. Lily, just 10 years old, watched it all unfold. She cried and cried, but no one listened. Her mother, her only family, was gone. Maureen, the kind woman who would cook for everyone, was taken away forever, leaving Lily alone in the world. After Maureen's death, Lily was left all alone. The villagers couldn't keep her, so they decided to send her to a nearby village where her uncle, Uncle Rufus, lived. Uncle Rufus was a kind man, and when he heard what had happened to Maureen, he was deeply saddened. He welcomed Lily into his home with open arms. Uncle Rufus had his own family, and they treated Lily as one of their own. Although Lily still missed her mother, Uncle Rufus and his family made sure she never felt alone. They gave her food, a warm bed, and lots of love. They always reminded her, "You are part of this family now." Over time, Lily began to feel better. Though she still missed her mother, she found some happiness again. She played with her cousins, helped her aunt around the house, and slowly started to smile again. As the years passed, Lily grew older. She was now 18, and Uncle Rufus had grown old too. He watched Lily blossom into a beautiful young woman. But there was something he knew she needed to hear: the truth about her mother's death. It had been kept from her for so long. One day, Uncle Rufus called Lily to sit with him. With sad eyes, he said, "Lily, there's something you need to know about your mother." Lily listened closely as Uncle Rufus told her the story. He explained how a young man had died after eating her mother's food. He told her that the villagers believed Maureen had poisoned him, and in their anger, they tied her up and threw her into the evil forest to be devoured by wild animals. Lily's heart sank. She had always wondered what happened to her mother, and now, hearing the truth, she was filled with sadness and pain. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she thought about how unfair it all was. Her mother, who was so kind and loved by so many, had died in such a terrible way. Uncle Rufus placed his hand on her shoulder and said, "Your mother wasn't bad, Lily. It was a terrible misunderstanding." The villagers didn't listen to her. They were blinded by anger. Lily cried, but she was grateful to finally know the truth. Although it was painful, she felt a sense of peace. She missed her mother more than ever, but knowing the truth helped her heal. Not long after, Uncle Rufus passed away. Lily was heartbroken once again. She had lost her mother, and now she had lost her uncle too. After the funeral, Lily's cousins sat her down and told her that they could no longer take care of her. "You're grown up now," they said. "You must find your own way." Lily was shocked and felt completely alone once again. With nowhere else to go, she thought about her mother and remembered a Acampa community, where her mother had once been loved. Maybe, just maybe, the villagers had forgiven her mother by now. Lily made a big decision. She packed her things and returned to Acampa community. hoping for a fresh start, just like her mother had once done. She believed that if she could cook and sell food like her mother, the people might accept her again. She hoped they wouldn't remember the painful past and would see her as Lily, not just as Maureen's daughter. With hope in her heart, Lily arrived in Acampa, ready to start her new life. She was full of optimism when she set up her food stall in the village. Lily woke up early, just like her mother used to, and cooked delicious meals. She was excited for the villagers to come, smell the tasty food, and fill their bowls. But as the day went by, no one came. Lily waited and waited, but the villagers kept their distance. They whispered to each other, remembering the tragedy that had happened years ago. They still believed that Lily's mother, Maureen, had poisoned the young man, and because of that, they didn't trust Lily's food. Day after day, Lily cooked and waited, but no one bought her food. The villagers passed by her stall, but they avoided her eyes. Lily could feel their fear and doubt, and it made her heart heavy. Even though she was sad and hurt, Lily didn't give up. She kept trying. She cooked the best meals she could, hoping that one day someone would give her a chance. But each day, the stall remained empty and the food was left untouched. Lily felt hopeless, but deep inside, she still believed that things could change. She held on to that hope and kept going, no matter how lonely it felt. One evening, after another long day of no sales, Lily walked home with tears in her eyes. Her heart was heavy with sadness, and her feet dragged along the dusty path. She had tried so hard, but the villagers still refused to buy her food. The whispers about her mother followed her everywhere, and the pain of being alone weighed on her. As she walked down the lonely road, something strange happened. An old woman appeared from the shadows. She had a hunchback that made her look small, but her eyes were sharp and glowing. Lily had never seen this woman before, but there was something unsettling about her. This was no ordinary old woman. She was a witch. The old witch smiled at Lily, and the smile sent chills down her spine. "Why are you crying, child?" the witch asked, her voice soft but full of something dark. Lily wiped her tears and looked at the witch, unsure if she should speak, but the sadness in her heart made her talk. "No one buys my food," Lily whispered. "They still remember my mother and what happened to her. They think I'm like her." The witch nodded slowly, as if she already knew everything. "Ah, yes, your mother Maureen. The villagers still fear her, don't they?" the witch said, her voice soft but sharp. "But it's not just fear that keeps them away, child. Something is missing from your food." Lily blinked, confused. "What do you mean?" "I cook the best food I can, just like my mother," she said. The witch's smile widened, showing her crooked teeth. "It's not about how good it tastes," she said. "There's something you must add to your food to make the villagers come to you. Something special." Lily stared at the old woman, feeling uneasy. "What is it?" she asked, though she wasn't sure she wanted to know the answer. The witch leaned in closer, her eyes gleaming in the dark. "Your menstrual blood," she whispered. "Add your menstrual blood to the food each month." She reached into her old, tattered robe and pulled out a small calabash. "Mix a little of this black substance into the food." Lily's stomach turned, and she stepped back, horrified by the thought. "No, that's disgusting. I can't do that." The witch chuckled, her laugh dry and cold. "Your mother thought the same thing, child, and look what happened to her." Lily felt a chill run down her spine as the witch continued. "Your mother Maureen, the villagers believe she poisoned that young man, don't they? But the truth, child, is not what they think." Lily looked at the witch, confused. "What do you mean?" "Everyone says my mother poisoned him." The witch's smile faded, and her eyes grew cold. "Your mother didn't poison anyone," she said, her voice now serious. "It was us. We, the witches, caused that man's death." Lily gasped. "But why? My mother wouldn't hurt anyone." The witch stepped closer, her voice sharp. "Your mother refused to join us. We asked her, we warned her, but she thought she could live her life without us. So we taught her a lesson. We killed that man and made the villagers believe it was her fault." Lily's heart pounded in her chest. "You killed him?" she whispered, her voice shaking. The witch's eyes gleamed in the dark. "We needed her to understand. She thought she could cook and live peacefully without our power, but when she refused to do as we said, we had to show her the price of disobedience. And so, the villagers turned on her, and she paid with her life." Lily felt sick. Her mother had died not because she was guilty, but because she had stood against the witches. The unfairness of it all made Lily's stomach twist with anger and grief. You killed my mother," she whispered, her voice shaking. The witch laughed softly, a cruel sound that echoed in the night. Yes, child. And now it's your turn to decide. Will you follow in your mother's footsteps and refuse us, or will you do what's necessary to survive? Lily's heart raced. She didn't want to believe the witch, but her words struck deep fear in her. Was this why no one bought her food? Was this the secret to breaking the curse of her mother's past? The witch reached into her robe again and pulled out a small calabash. Like I said earlier, there's something missing from your food, she said, holding the calabash out to Lily. If you want to sell your food, if you want the villagers to come to you, you must add your menstrual blood to the food, and you must mix a little of this black substance into it. Lily's stomach turned with disgust. No, I can't do that. It's horrible, she cried. The witch's smile returned, this time more menacing than before. Your mother thought the same thing, and look where that led her, dead at the hands of angry villagers. The witch placed the calabash into Lily's hands. If you refuse, child, you will face the same fate. Don't be a fool like your mother. Lily stood there, trembling, her hands clutching the small calabash. The witch's words echoed in her mind. Was this her only chance to survive? To break free from the curse her mother had faced? The witch turned and began to walk away, her figure disappearing into the shadows. Think carefully, Lily, she called over her shoulder. Your life depends on it. Lily stood alone in the darkness, the weight of the calabash heavy in her hands. Her mind raced with fear and uncertainty. Could she really do what the witch had said? Was it worth risking her life to follow the same path her mother had refused? That night, Lily couldn't sleep. The witch's words echoed in her mind. Her mother had refused the witches, and it had cost her life. Lily didn't want to follow the same path, but the thought of doing something so terrible made her feel sick. She paced around her small room, staring at the calabash the witch had given her. Lily thought about her mother, Maureen. She had been brave, standing up to the witches. But what had it brought her? A tragic death, accused of a crime she didn't commit. Now, Lily stood at the same crossroads, feeling trapped with no good choices. Finally, as the first light of dawn began to creep through her window, Lily made her decision. She couldn't live like this anymore, with no one by her food and the whispers of the villagers haunting her every step. If following the witch's advice was the only way to survive, then she would do it. The next week, when Lily was on her period, she went to her stall as usual. She prepared the food, but this time she did something she never thought she would. She took her menstrual blood, just as the witch had instructed, and added it to the food. Her hands trembled, but she forced herself to continue. Then, she opened the calabash and sprinkled a tiny bit of black substance into the pot. Her heart pounded as she stirred the food, hoping no one would ever find out what she had done. She was filled with shame, but she pushed the feelings aside, determined to see what would happen. When Lily opened her stall that day, she was nervous. Would anyone come? Would the food taste different? Would the villagers somehow know what she had done? But to her surprise, something amazing happened. One by one, people began to approach her stall. At first, it was just a few curious villagers, and then more and more came. They asked for bowls of her food, and Lily served them, watching in disbelief as they ate and smiled. "This is delicious," one man said. "I haven't tasted food this good in a long time." Another woman added, "It's amazing." The villagers who had once avoided her now couldn't get enough of her cooking. By the end of the day, Lily had sold everything. Her pots were empty, and her stall was surrounded by people, all talking about how good her food was. Word spread quickly, and soon everyone in the village was talking about Lily's delicious meals. Lily couldn't believe it. For the first time since she had returned to Acampa, she felt a glimmer of hope. The witch's strange advice had worked, and Lily's stall was busy with customers. She had done something she never imagined, but it had brought her success. As the sun set and Lily packed up her stall, she thought about her choice. She didn't feel proud of what she had done, but for the first time in a long time, she didn't feel powerless. The villagers loved her food, and she had finally found a way to survive. As time passed, Lily's food stall grew more popular. What had started as a small operation soon became the busiest spot in the entire village. People from nearby towns and villages began to travel to Acampa just to taste Lily's famous cooking. Her food had become something special. Everyone talked about it, and people couldn't get enough of it. Within a year, Lily had become the most successful food seller not only in Acampa, but in the surrounding areas as well. With all the money she made, she built herself a large, beautiful house, one of the finest in the village. It was so big that everyone who passed by would stop and stare. The house was grand, with strong walls and shiny windows, and it stood as a symbol of Lily's success. But even as Lily's business grew, She never let anyone else cook the food. She hired many workers to help run her stall, serve the food, and clean up, but the cooking was always done by her alone. She didn't want anyone else to know the secret behind her success, the strange and dark ritual that kept the villagers coming back for more. While Lily's fame spread, not everyone was happy. The women in the village began to notice how much the husbands admired Lily. They whispered among themselves, jealous and suspicious. Why are the men always at her stall? They wondered. They're too interested in her food and in her. Soon, rumors began to spread. People whispered that Lily had some kind of power over the men in the village. The women were convinced that something was wrong. She must be using magic. They said, how else could she rise to the top so quickly? How else could she make our husbands admire her so much? But Lily paid no attention to the gossip. She was focused on her business, and the rumors didn't bother her. She had everything she had ever wanted: money, a beautiful home, and a thriving business. The whispers and jealousy of the village women couldn't take that away from her. Lily's success only grew. She became the talk of every village around, and people came from even farther away just to taste her cooking. But deep inside, she knew the price she had paid for this fame. She had followed the witch's advice, and while it had brought her wealth, it also brought a shadow over her heart. No matter how much success she had, there was a part of Lily that still felt uneasy. She ignored it, pushing it to the back of her mind, but the feeling was always there, quiet but waiting. One cold and quiet night, as Lily sat alone in her grand house, lost in thought, a sudden chill filled the room. The wind howled outside, and the lights flickered. Before Lily could even get up to check, a familiar figure appeared in the corner of the room. It was the old witch. Lily's heart sank as she saw the witch's crooked smile and glowing eyes. It had been so long since she had last seen her, and though Lily had tried to forget, deep down, she knew the witch would return one day. "Lily," the witch said in a voice that sent shivers down her spine. "It's time." "Time for what?" Lily asked, though she already feared the answer. The witch's smile widened. "You didn't think your success would come without a price, did you? We've given you wealth, power, and fame. Now it's time to pay us back." Lily swallowed hard. "But I've done everything you asked. I followed your advice. Isn't that enough?" The witch shook her head slowly. "No, child. The small sacrifice you made was only the beginning. Now it's time for something bigger. We need your womb." Lily gasped. "My womb? But why?" The witch's eyes darkened. "To keep your success, to hold on to everything you've gained, you must give up the chance to have children. You will never have a family of your own. That is the price you must pay to keep your fortune." Lily's heart pounded. She had dreamed of having children one day, of starting a family and sharing her success with them. Her beautiful house felt so empty, and she had always hoped that one day it would be filled with the laughter of children. "No," Lily said, shaking her head. "I can't do that. I want children. I want a family. I've worked so hard for everything I have, but I don't want to give up my future for it." The witch's smile faded, replaced by a cold stare. "You think you can refuse us, Lily? Do you think you can walk away from the bargain we made? If you don't give us your womb, you will lose everything. Your wealth, your fame, your house. Everything will be gone." Lily's hands trembled. The thought of losing everything terrified her, but the idea of giving up the chance to be a mother was even worse. "No," she said again, her voice stronger this time. "I won't do it. I'll find another way." The witch's face twisted with anger. "There is no other way, Lily," she hissed. "If you don't pay the price, you will face the consequences, and they will be far worse than anything you could imagine." Lily stood tall, her heart racing, but her mind made up. "I won't give you my womb. I'll take whatever comes, but I won't give up my future for this." The witch glared at Lily, her eyes burning with fury. "Very well," she said, her voice cold and sharp. "You've made your choice. But remember, Lily, everything has a price, and yours will be paid in full." With that, the witch disappeared, leaving Lily alone in the dark, her heart pounding with fear of what was to come. The morning after the witch's visit, a strange wind blew through Acampa. The breeze was unlike anything the villagers had ever felt, cold and sharp. It whipped through the streets, rattling windows and shaking doors. But something even stranger happened at Lily's house. The wind caused damage to her secret room, the room where she kept her cooking supplies and performed the dark ritual the witch had taught her. A small hole appeared in the wall, just large enough for someone to peek through. One of the village women, curious about Lily's sudden rise to fame, noticed the gap. The woman had always been suspicious of Lily, and now, with this chance, she couldn't resist. She crouched down and looked through the hole. What she saw shocked her to the core. Inside, Lily was preparing her food just as she did every day. But the woman watched in horror as Lily took her menstrual blood and mixed it into the food. She also saw Lily sprinkle the mysterious black substance from the small calabash the witch had given her. The woman gasped and stumbled back from the hole, her heart racing. "This is witchcraft," she whispered to herself, horrified by what she had seen. Without wasting another moment, she ran to tell the other villagers. It didn't take long for the news to spread like wildfire. The villagers, filled with anger and fear, gathered at Lily's house. They dragged her out to the village square, demanding answers. The crowd grew larger and louder, their voices full of rage and betrayal. Lily stood before them, trembling. The village elder stepped forward and asked her to explain. "Is it true, Lily?" one elder asked. "Have you been using witchcraft in your cooking?" At first, Lily wanted to deny it, to lie and protect herself, but the weight of everything, the guilt, the fear, the witch's curse, pressed down on her. She couldn't lie anymore. With tears in her eyes, Lily nodded and confessed everything. She told them about the witch, the menstrual blood, the black substance, and how she had followed the witch's instructions to become successful. The villagers were shocked. They had trusted Lily, admired her, and now they felt betrayed. Their anger grew, and some of them shouted for Lily to be punished. The village elder summoned the oracle to decide Lily's fate. The oracle, an ancient and wise woman, arrived at the village square. She looked at Lily with a stern face, and after listening to the villagers, she gave Lily two choices. "You have sinned greatly, Lily," the oracle said. "You can either sacrifice your womb to the witches as they demand, or you will face death for your crimes. The choice is yours." Lily's heart sank. She had already refused the witch's demand for her womb, but now the threat of death loomed over her. The thought of losing her life terrified her, and she realized she wasn't ready to die. "I choose life," Lily whispered, her voice barely audible. The oracle nodded. "Very well. You will live, but you are forbidden from ever selling food in this village again. You will leave this place, and you will never return." The villagers murmured among themselves, some still angry, but others relieved that Lily had not been sentenced to death. Feeling utterly defeated, Lily gathered what little she had and left the village. She didn't look back as she walked away from the place where her mother had died, the place where she had once hoped to rebuild her life. Her dream had turned into a nightmare, and now she had lost everything. The tale of Lily was told for years in a campa, a warning to all who heard it. The villagers remembered how greed and revenge had led to Lily's downfall, and they spoke of how chasing success at any cost could destroy even the brightest of lives. Lily was never seen in the village again. Moral of the story: success achieved through unethical or dark means comes at a great personal cost. While ambition and the desire for wealth or power are natural, sacrificing one's values or future for temporary gains can lead to severe consequences. The story also highlights the dangers of making deals with forces that demand sacrifices, as these choices can ultimately destroy what matters most, such as family, happiness, and peace of mind. True success is built on honesty, hard work, and integrity, not shortcuts or deceit. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, please like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more captivating tales like this one. Thank you.